Hi guys, I'm Sachinta and welcome to Simply Economics. Our lesson for today is the production possibility curve. And this diagram, that is what the PPC normally looks like. Now the production possibility is before getting on to the production possibility curve, let's remind ourselves of what production possibility is. Now, production possibility is the maximum output an economy can produce by achieving both full employment and full production. So, the definition of the production possibility curve is simple if you understood what production possibility is. Because production possibility curve is the curve that denotes all the maximum output combinations of an economy which produces just two goods utilizing all its resources. Alright, so look at that. Now, production possibility was a maximum output that the economy can achieve. However, in the PPC, we denote different combinations of maximum outputs. Now, there are important points such as just two goods and utilizing all its resources. Alright, so we'll learn in the assumptions of drawing a PPC as to why that is so. Now, there are 5 main assumptions made when drawing a PPC. Alright, now the PPC is a theoretic thing, you should remember that. So, in order to present certain theories, we have to assume and create a background which might not be 100% true in practical applications. Anyway, now in theory, when drawing a PPC, we have to assume that an economy produces only two goods. Now, for example, let's take wheat and dal. Alright, so here it would be wheat, and instead of machines, let's assume it's dal, wheat and dal. So in the entire economy, only wheat and dal are produced. And then common resources. This means that the same resources used in making wheat will be used in making dal. Alright, so that is another assumption. And then fixed resources. Now let's take fertilizer. Fertilizer is the resource that is used. It is a common resource used in both wheat production and dal production. Now fixed resources means that, now assume at the beginning when we draw the PPC, we had 50 kilos of fertilizer. So fixed resources means we assume that when the PPC is drawn, the amount of fertilizer will not change, right? It will remain constant. And then fixed technology. Now assume 3 tractors were used in both the production of wheat and dal. Alright, so we assume that there will be only 3 tractors throughout. So the technology won't change, right? And full employment and full production. So we know what full employment and full production are. So we assume that the economy produces at full employment and full production when drawing a PPC. Now we know the background of the PPC. Now let's see why the hell we have to learn about this PPC. There are 3 very important uses of PPC used even in very advanced economic theories. Alright, the PPC can be used to present economic concepts which could be pretty advanced as well. Alright, so it's a simple way to present advanced things too. So that's the third point here. Anyway, first point, effective resource allocation. Okay, that means the PPC denotes the economic efficient point. Alright, so we'll be learning how to find the economic efficient point later, but then you have to remember the PPC helps us denote the economically efficient point. And then PPC is also an economic indicator used by economists. So these 3 uses makes us want to study about this PPC. Now, when studying the PPC, we will encounter 3 main types of PPCs, of which the first 2, the PPC with increasing opportunity cost and constant opportunity cost, are the ones from which you will get most of the questions in your A-level syllabus. Alright, but there are 3 types of PPCs. Now you can just look at the 3 types, okay, and we'll start off with by learning what the marginal opportunity cost is. Alright, because this is important in order to classify the different types of PPCs. Now, marginal opportunity cost means, the definition is that in order to increase 1 unit of a good, number of units that must be sacrificed of the other good is known as the marginal opportunity cost. Now, marginal opportunity cost is also equal to the slope of the curve, which is also known as the gradient. Alright, simple mathematics. However, let's look at this PPC. Don't read the description, just look at this PPC. Alright, now I told you marginal opportunity cost means when we increase 1 unit of good, we have to sacrifice a certain amount of the other goods. That's basic opportunity cost. So marginal opportunity cost is the calculation of that opportunity cost. Now, for example, we have broccoli and pizza here. Now think, we were producing at point 4. We were making 60 pizzas and 10 broccolis using all our resources. Now we want to increase the amount of broccolis that we need. Alright, so we'll be allocating more resources to broccoli and we'll be making 15 broccolis. But then look at what happens. So that means we'll be producing at point 3, which causes the production of pizza to fall by 20 up to 40. Alright, so that was the marginal opportunity cost. The marginal opportunity cost will be, look at this, from 4 to 3. Now let's look at the equation first. Marginal opportunity cost is found by dividing the sacrificed output by the increased output. Okay, that is the decreasing value over the increasing value. You get it? So let's look at this example. Now from point 4 we shifted to point 3. We were producing 60 pizzas, but now we have 40 pizzas. So the difference there, the amount sacrificed is 20 pizzas. Alright, we had 10 broccolis, now we have 5 broccolis. So the amount increased there was 5 broccolis. So 20 divided by 5 is 4. Alright, so that is the basic. So now these when it comes to MCQs and all, they could give quite tough questions which might confuse you all. So what I did when I was a student was, I remembered this decreasing over increasing thing, because it can get really weird. Okay, so if the pizzas are increasing and all, it could be a decimal value as well. So in order to not get confused, how I remembered was D is always above I. So decreasing above increasing, what I remember was D for donkey, donkey is above me. Okay, it's stupid ways, but then sometimes actually when it comes to exams, these stuff help. Donkey above I. Alright, donkey, even the donkey has more brains than you. That's how I remembered it. So it might help you all. Alright, anyway, now let's get on to the first type, the constant opportunity cost production possibility. So constant opportunity cost means that each time one product is increased, an equal proportion of the other product will be sacrificed. That means the marginal opportunity cost is constant in this production possibility. So this gives us a straight line PPC. It's not a PPC. It's not actually a production possibility curve. It's a production possibility line here. Alright, it's a linear one. So look at this. Okay, so when we talked about marginal opportunity cost, we found how when we shift from point 4 to 3, the marginal opportunity cost is 4. Okay, why? From 60 to 40, from 10 to 15. And if we change from 3 to 2, alright, 40 to 20, the amount sacrificed is 20, and 15 to 20, the amount increased is 5. So once again, the marginal opportunity cost is 4. So what are the reasons for this? In order for a constant opportunity cost to take place, there are certain factors that affect it. First thing is that the factors of production are homogeneous, which means all are equal and identical. Now, we were talking about pizza and broccoli. Alright, now this means that the same resources used in producing pizza can be used in producing broccoli. That's why we can shift from point 4 to point 3 and 3 to 2 in a similar way. Okay, so just one tip, constant opportunity cost, this thing will never happen in real life. This is only something in theory, because it's obvious. How could the resources used in pizza be the same resources used in producing broccoli? Alright, it's absurd, but we use this for theory. Alright, so first thing is all factors of production are homogeneous. Therefore, all factors of production are perfectly substitutes. Now just think, I told you the same resources used in pizza will be used in broccoli. Therefore, you can use those instead of using those resources to make pizza. Now you can use it to make broccoli without any issue. And then factors of production can be transferred between products. Since they are substitutable, they can be transferred between the two products. Alright, so those are the reasons for a constant opportunity cost curve. Next, we have the increasing opportunity cost curve. Now here, this means that each time one product is increased in equal quantities, the output sacrificed from the other product increases. Now this is the realistic situation. Alright, so in this PPC is concave to the origin. Why? Because the slope, I told you the marginal opportunity cost is also equal to the slope or the gradient. Alright, so the slope increases. Now look at this. We change from A to B. That means we were producing A that at point A, which means we were producing 50 units of good Y and nothing of good X. Now we want some 1 unit of good X. Alright, so when we shift to B, you can see we have to sacrifice 2 units and increase 1 unit. So there's a marginal opportunity cost of 2. B to C, we have to sacrifice 4 units and while increasing just 1 unit. And from C to D, just to increase 1 unit, we have to sacrifice 11 units of good Y. Alright, so you can see gradually the slope increases. So what are the reasons for increasing opportunity cost? First reason is that all factors of production are heterogeneous. Alright, that means different. They are different from each other. Now in the constant opportunity cost, it was homogeneous. Here it is heterogeneous. And then factors of production are not perfectly substitutable. Obvious, right? If factors of production are heterogeneous, which is the obvious situation, all right, so think this is pizza and broccoli again. Obviously the resources used in making pizza are different to the resources used in broccoli. All right, so if we were using fertilizer to make good Y, now in order to make pizza also we are going to use fertilizer, so it's absurd. Okay, and then productivity of different factors of production vary. For example, labor, people who are making broccoli, if they are made to make pizza, okay, it will take certain, they can't make pizza in the same with the same skills they had in making broccoli. All right, so their productivity will change from person to person. Okay, therefore each time production increases, a greater amount of additional factors of production are required. That's obvious, right? So there were people think it's broccoli and computers. So a guy who was growing broccoli, do you think if we send him to make computers, it will require? Now if we are talking about an engineer, one engineer could have made one computer, but then we'll need about 15 guys who were making broccoli in order to make one computer. You get the point, right? So production increases. For production to increase, more of factors of production should be sacrificed from the other good. And then different goods use different technologies or management techniques. Once again, just think of the guys who were making broccolis are now having to make computers. So the way they managed their skills and everything are different. All right, so all these reasons create an increasing opportunity cost, which is presented through the concave PPC. Now that we know the two basic types of PPCs, in our next video we'll be learning about the applications of the production possibility curve. So the most of the questions are from the applications. So but in order to apply these, you have to be very clear about the background and the reasons of these respective production possibility curves. So see you in our next video as we discuss the applications of the production possibility curves.